You're listening to the Devil Dog Talk Show.
This show contains explicit material and is recommended for ages 18 and older for mature audiences only. But hey, it's the internet.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Double Dog Talk Show. Today we have Adam Brice. Adam Brice is the owner, correct, out at Heroes Restaurant?
Yeah, Heroes Wood-Fired Pizza, yeah.
Heroes Wood-Fired Pizza out in, is it actually in Julian?
Technically, it's in Santa Isabel, but it's 3 miles shy of Julian. So we call Julian area, everything up there.
Perfect. And Adam and I connected the other day when my wife and I and my kids, we wanted to go get some pie. And long story short, let me just tell you folks, we didn't get fucking pie, okay? But I met Adam and we hit it off so well. And I was so stoked that I had to have Adam on today to talk about the restaurant and a little bit about himself. So I'll stop yammering and turn it over to you. Adam, go ahead and introduce yourself a bit. Let the world know a bit about yourself.
Okay, thanks, Joey. Yeah, as you said, my name's Adam Brice. I'm retired from the Marine Corps. I spent 25 wonderful years in that organization and retired in 2014 from there. Since then, I've been involved in motorcycle education for the last almost 15 years, and I kind of retired from that, and my wife and I started the restaurant. My stepson and my wife and I started Heroes Wood-Fired Pizza, which, you know, is dedicated to our people in uniform, and we have a very strong a connection to music. So music and uniform members are pretty much our passion there. But that's just a little short bit about me.
Wow, you really kind of glazed over some big hit points there. So how long were you in the military for? You spent how many years?
25 years.
How many?
25.
25. That's a lot of years, bro.
Yeah, it's my whole adult life, man. It's
So how did you get into the military? What was that story like?
Well, I came in from a small town and basically came down to my best friend and I. We're still best friends this day. He's a police officer over in Phoenix, but being from a small town, we knew there wasn't very many options for us, you know, to do anything, and neither one of us had any really drive to go to college at that time. And so one night we shook on it and said, hey, we're going to go in the military. And so it ended up being the Marine Corps. And one of the reasons we joined is just because to travel, you know, it's like you couldn't find a better deal than they're going to pay me to leave. I mean, yeah, I know I may not be going to some of the most choice destinations, but they're paying me to go check out some new stuff and you know, explore in life. And so that was part of the draw. But, you know, the other thing was this wasn't a huge influence at the time, but it became a bigger influence over time. Is my whole family, we've got a very deep lineage of service, and we talk more about heroes that you'll kind of know about that. But both my mom and dad served in World War II. And so we have, you know, and it just trickles down from there, all of our service in the family. So it just kind of felt also like carrying the torch for the family also, you know, and keep that tradition going. So those were kind of my influences to go in. And I, you know, my first duty station was 29 Palms. And had it not been for them moving me, PCSing me to Okinawa, my first enlistment, it would have been a 4-year stint in the Marines, man. Cause I was like, about the 3-year mark, is like, if this is all the Marine Corps is about, is sitting out here, man, I'm done.
I know, right? That place is, it's not the best of duty stations.
Well, especially for a young Marine, that's a pretty demoralizing place for a young Marine to go.
I mean, you say young, but I really feel coming into spaces like, you know, 29 Stumps, NAFL Centro, there's really not, when you're isolated, right? There really isn't like that. I don't think it's ever good. I mean, the families sometimes help if you're connected and you have a family on base or whatever, but isolated commands, it's just never a good day. But you're right. You know, having that next adventure to Okinawa, it really kind of perked you up a bit. What was that like there in Oki at that time?
Well, it was really, like you said, it reinvigorated my motivation. But, you know, to be honest, you know, the culture was a big thing. I went to college when I was there and learned to speak the language. Of course, it's been many years, so I don't remember much of it. But, you know, so that was kind of a draw. But one of the honestly big things that was my best experience besides just the history and the culture was they own music. They love music over there. So it's like I could walk I was stationed on Kinzern. I could walk down to Naha on any weekend and there'd be a jazz festival or live jazz or live music just about anywhere you went.
That's
and
beautiful.
that's awesome. It's just that the way they own music and they love it. It's just part of their culture. And that was one of the big high points for Okinawa for me. I ended up extending and staying an extra year.
That is so awesome. Now in Oki, and you come across, or you come back, right? You extend a year and you come back. Where did you head out after Oki?
I came back to Camp Pendleton and was at the amphibious vehicle test branch. So I'm, for all my fellow Amtrackers out there, Yaz brothers. So yeah, came back there and spent about 4 years there, and then off to the worst part of my career. Yes, there was something worse than Twin Hind Palms, and that was recruiting duty.
Oh no, that's just no fun. So we'll glaze over that part, right?
Yeah, that was 3 years there, but it was a learning experience. I mean, I got to see something new. I was up in Northern California, and I mean north. I was about 20 miles from the Oregon border. I was in a little town called Wairika, California.
Nice. That's way up there. That is
way up there. That's fact.
That is way up. In fact, you know, the crazier part about that whole thing is people don't realize sometimes how huge California is, right? And just the diversity, right? You have 29 Palms, you go way up to Eureka, wherever they call it, and the whole mountain range up through there, like I would say a few thousand miles short of wherever. It's just so long and vast. And when you look at like that area, it's so gorgeous. I've never been to that exact spot. A little bit south, I want to say a bunch of miles, in Sonora, Murphy's. There's this Stanislaus, I think it's Stanislaus County, or is it? No.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. And anyways, just absolutely gorgeous big trees, just things, mountains, caverns, you name it. Man, that is so beautiful. What a diverse experience. So here you are, you know, young man getting out of where you came from with you and your best friend. You went on this journey bouncing from all these different places. What was your last duty station?
I retired out of Camp Pendleton. So I spent probably the majority of my career was at Camp Pendleton.
Nice. What year did you retire again? It was 2004,
2014, yeah. And it was October 2014.
That is so awesome.
I retired out of 1st LAR as a battalion maintenance chief for 1st LAR.
Dude, that is so badass. I was just talking to actually our PR guy. I call him my PR guy. Sean Dickens. Amazing dude. Was a prior FMF Navy corpsman, then joined the Marine Corps. Was into that. I don't even know what they call that. I can't. He's gonna beat me up for this shit. The journalism people. Fuck. Whatever those people are in the Marine Corps. You know, the ones that take pictures and write stories.
Right. Yeah. The audiovisual guys. I don't even know the term. We call them camera. You know, so like you go get your promotion pictures taken there and shit.
Yeah, and he started at that route and then went amphib and. And I just tell him all the time, I was like, wow, that's a big leap. And he goes, yeah. And then he got out, and me and him talk about that stuff too. So he talks about, you know, how crazy it is, how those things are. And, you know, that whole experience of being the corpsman and then being a Marine. And then in fact, one of the corpsmen that we just talked to last week, Luis Fonseca, he was with Amphib. Yeah, I would have to look at the notes, but all of those guys, man. So that's a really amazing. See, that's the thing too, is like those ships. I don't know, what are they called? Just amphibious vehicles? Because how do you classify them?
You're talking about Amtrax?
Yeah, like aren't those things like also like, you know, they float, right?
Yeah, they're amphibious. So they drive on the shore and they swim in the ocean, swim to the ship. So they swim back and forth. They're a troop carrier from the ship to the shore and back.
Nah, man, that shit's scary. Like I was in the Navy. I never even touched a ship, and I'm just looking at like, oh, okay, the big metal box. You want us to get into that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They call it the dungeon. Get down
duck?
the bottom where you sit, where the passengers sit. They call it the dungeon, and it leaks like a sieve, dude. So you're sitting there, you know, for somebody that's already afraid of the water as it is, and this thing dives in the ocean, and all of a sudden there's water coming in everywhere. These guys are panicking, freaking the fuck out. It's pretty wild.
Oh my God. I'm just like, I'm trying to visualize it and me not shit my pants. I would be like the first person to be like, everybody, here's your depends.
The other thing you'd see is you start getting some swells, going, and sooner or later, because it was all infantry guys in the back, and sooner or later, one of them would get seasick, and they'd start yakking in their helmet. Next thing you know, the whole place, they see the other guy puking. It's like, oh, here I go. And the next thing you know, it's like a concert of pukers in there.
Oh my God, dude. That is hysterical. I don't think people actually give everybody enough credit for the shit that people go through in these specific vehicles. Like just the stories, looking back at it and visualizing right now. One, okay, this huge behemoth of metal clunkery, it's military grade by the sound of it because it's leaking everywhere. And you got a group of guys, you're trying to go from ship to shore. Geez, that is just awesome.
And diesel fumes. I mean, the diesel fumes are awful inside the vehicle. It's an experience. Let's just say it's an experience, man.
Jeez. And so how did you go then from that type of an experience from it being the Marine, doing the tracks and everything like that? How did you go from, that to music or where you're at now?
Well, music has been a passion since I was a child, man. I can take you back, and I remember I quiz people. Do you remember the very first favorite song in your lifetime? And some people are like, no. I was like, I do, And so music has been a passion. All my sisters, they all played piano. My family was big on. My mom and dad didn't play. They couldn't play a radio, but they kind of insisted that all the kids, learned some kind of musical instrument or at least experimented with it, tried it, So they started me out on piano when I was about 8 years old. And of course, being a rebellious kid, I was like, I don't want to play this stupid thing. I want to play electric guitar. I want to be a rock and roll star, But music has been a part of my blood since birth, man. And so I've been around it. I've always gone to live shows. I started playing guitar in 1984, and so it's always been a part of me. So even the Marine Corps most of the time came second to music. Music has always been like my paramount love in life.
That's so solid, dude. That is so awesome, because one thing that I've learned too, right, is certain people that listen to music, there's those people, they listen to music, right? That's totally okay, completely normal. But then there's those people that it's a passion, right? And I always had a passion for music, right? So as soon as you even said, like, what's your number one first song? I'm like, yep, I got it. Like, it's in there. And that's what really drives this whole audio thing. Like, your thing is the guitar. And you said it best. It's like since 84, you've had this electric guitar, relationship. It's like deeper, above all else, right? Rock gods. And that's so fucking gnarly, because to me, to have anything, right, where it's your thing, like you go to it, it's this bond of creativity and self-expression, right? It's just such a beautiful thing to have. So what would be then the I want to say the transition? So you left, then you retired in 2014, and
correct.
You pursued more music. Did you go to school at that time? What was that transition like for you?
Well, at the time, I was heavily involved in rider education, teaching motorcycling. Like all the veterans can relate to is motorcycle training. You have to take, when you're on active duty, they make you take all those classes. Well, I was one of those guys that gave those classes, and then I became a manager of all those classes. I ran military contracts, and so I had a passion for motorcycling too. But as far as music, I just kept nurturing it and just kept, playing whenever I got a chance, and sticking with it. And then one day, I had a matter of fact, it's kind of a cool story of bond between military members. One of our bands that plays at Heroes on a regular basis, the lead of the band comes up and he's just chatting in between on their break and stuff. And he said, "Hey man, Ian over there, he's a veteran also." And he said, he's going to Berkeley College of Music on his GI Bill. He says, have you ever thought about that? And I was like, nah, you get an audition, I was like, I don't know if I could pass an audition to go to Berkeley, and so he hooked me up with him. So him and I started chatting, and of course, he's being a veteran, encouraging me, going, "Hey brother, do it, man. Just put in an audition, man. You never know what'll happen, but just give it a shot." He says, I thought the same thing. And so I put in an audition about a year and a half ago. And so I got my letter about a week later saying, "Hey, welcome to Berkeley." And so I've been for the last almost 2 years, I guess, going to Berklee College of Music on my GI Bill, so that doesn't go to waste. And of course, that was kind of a goal before I even went in the Marine Corps. I mean, that's a goal I always had. Is like, I'd like to go to music school. I didn't even care if it was like a community college, man. It's just like, I'd like to be educated in music, not just winging it. I'd like to actually know what the hell I'm doing, And so because of my time in service, I had the opportunity to attend one of the most prestigious music schools, which I'm pretty jazzed about, no pun intended.
That's super awesome. Like, honestly, it's one of the coolest stories of service, finding that thing, that sense of purpose, right? This thing, that passion. And then Berklee, you're not fooling around, man. That's some serious shit. It's a really great school. I met some instructors in my audio engineering path, right? And performers where they talk about it. And it's such a beautiful program, a lot of the different things that they got going on. But for all of the different music in general, right? Knowing what to do and how to do it. Here's my limit. I can count to 4. Okay. All right. I'm really good at that shit. That's what I tell people. That's the only reason why I'm a really good audio engineer. Like, I don't care how crazy your music's going. I can find that 4, that 1, 2, 3, 4 is in there. Okay. Once I get it. Even your sneaky guys with the jazzy 5s. Okay. Yeah. I'm seeing you guys, that's okay. I think some of the coolest shit I've ever seen is the math. I think it's math rock. Yeah. Dream Theater. Yeah, they do a lot of that shit. One of my best friends growing up, Nick Folks, hardcore Dream Theater guy, turned me on to it as a kid. And so now I know, hey, Adam likes that shit. So I'm like, yeah, that's going to be so much fun. So go ahead.
No, I'm a big fan of prog metal, what they call that, progressive metal and stuff. So I've been... Dream Theater, I've kind of fallen out. I mean, I listened to Dream Theater for 20 years and stuff, and they started, for me, got a little too technical after a certain point, but I'm a big fan. Like, probably my favorite I could tell you my favorite prog band is Porcupine Tree. And if you guys haven't listened to Porcupine Tree, you're doing yourself an injustice.
Oh my God. I'm looking at Porcupine Tree. Hold up. Let's say it loud for the listeners. Porcupine Tree.
Yeah, there's somebody that you don't want to miss. That's for sure, man.
Oh my God, I had to write it down, because if I don't, I'm gonna be like, what was the name of the thing? Ostrich sand? No, that's not it. Porcupine Tree.
I'm a big fan of rock, but I mean, I found my niche in acoustic guitar and stuff like that, and in my mid-20s and stuff like that, and that's where I kind of. So there was a time when the electric guitars went in the case for a long time, and the acoustic was where my real love was. And it just took me a while to figure that out.
So now that you have the restaurant and you have the space, I noticed that you guys really are involved with the community, right? You were no, I don't know if it's awarded or decorated. I don't know how society calls those things, recognized for the restaurant. And then on top of it, I saw that you do like the weekly music stuff. I'm drawing a blank on all the technical stuff, so help me out here, bro.
All right. So yeah, this year we were just honored. It's about 2 weeks ago. We were honored as the Merchant of the Year for the Julian area. So they pick one every year. They pick who the Merchant of the Year is of all the Julian businesses and everything. And it's not chosen by the chamber. It's actually chosen by the citizens. The citizens vote on it. And so we were voted Merchant of the Year for the year. So we're pretty proud of that. And the music thing, was a big part of it, because for all of you music lovers out there, we have live music Thursday through Sunday every week, rain or shine, 365. The only time we don't have on Thursday is on Thanksgiving Day, because nobody usually attends on that, but that's the only Thursday we miss it. So music is a constant at Heroes. So if you like live music, we're a place to be on Thursday through Sunday.
That's so awesome. That's something that I really was sharing with everybody that I talk to, my friends list and everything. Of course, my listeners, our social media guys and everybody, guys and girls, everybody. I was like, man, because when I saw the place, right, me and the wife had drove past it. I don't remember if I said this out loud on the recording phase of what we were doing yet, but me and the wife were driving past it. And I want to say it's been a few times at least, because we do go there a little bit more often than I like to admit. We live out in Valley Center, which is just a little, not offshoot, but it's right down the road to me. And I just highly recommend anybody and everybody in the San Diego area, right? If you're coming to San Diego's a beautiful place, right? But like we were just saying, California is so huge. There's so many beautiful things. If you hit it right, actually right now in the month of March to about, I want to say late April sometimes, maybe a little bit further, March, April, May. I mean, I don't know. There's going to be snow. So you can technically hit that California. I can't remember. There's like a weird little, coin or whatever trick everybody tries to get where you go up, you snowboard all evening or morning or whatever it is, and then you go hit the beach and you catch some waves. And it's one of those cool things that if you're also in the area, right, head out to Julian. Julian's got a lot of really dynamic things. Of course, everybody knows their pie. And that's why we actually went up. And we didn't get the pie in Julian, so we hit down the road and we told the family, hey, we're going to stop by. I've been really wanting to go into Heroes Woodfire Pizza. It's a restaurant, so it's really beautiful. You guys can't miss it. And what I'm saying is we pull in, and right away the family's all excited. We're like, man, we're hungry. We get in. The restaurant's all cool. We sit down in the back area. It's super big, actually. There's a lot of space. There's the whole, what do you call that? Like a center area out in the open. You guys have the bar area. You guys have the back door out area with the little stage and everything that's there. And where we were at, it's like a banquet area, kind of. I don't know what the right word would be. And it was so nice because when you look around, folks, it's something that I was telling the family, like, it's just really important that, these things are there where people can come in, look around and be inspired by history. Right. And not just the smallest of aspects, like in all aspects, whether you're a fireman, whether you're a police officer, whether you're a first responder, EMT, right? Or if you're a service member, there's all these dynamics being represented there. And it was such a cool feel and vibe that when we were leaving, I saw Adam. I'm not going to, say that I didn't recognize Adam. I was like, oh, you look familiar. Look right up, and it's the guy in the uniform. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, got it. So then, we started talking about the music and everything else that you guys got going on there. And of course, I got jazzed. We ended up not getting the pie, like I said earlier. But my whole point to it was it's such a great place, and you guys got such a great thing going on, especially with the music. It's Thursday through Sunday, every day except Turkey Day, folks. Hey, everybody wants some Turkey Day. But when you look at that and we go ahead and say, well, what do we got going on now? You have the space open. You guys do classes, right? Every other, or when do you guys do the classes?
Well, we do a songwriter workshop every third Tuesday of the month.
Workshop.
And every third Tuesday. So amateur songwriters come in there, and we get some of the prominent songwriters in San Diego, and we've got them from out of the area also that they'll come join, and there's no fee for it. It's just for us songwriters to get together and get some honest, good feedback from another songwriter. You'll play your tune, and everybody will sit around. It's a very, very welcoming and very encouraging environment. And so then you play your new tune or whatever, and somebody said, everybody kind of gives their input and said, hey, man, that was great. Or, hey, did you consider this, throwing this in here, or maybe doing a pre-chorus here or something like that? And so it's a real encouraging environment if you're new to songwriting, and it's going to transition. We're going to complement it with some events this year. We have a lot of, I know Joey mentioned we've got some big events we do during summer when we can use the backstage out back, but it's going to complement this event we called Songwriters Under the Stars, and it's going to be, one Saturday night a month. It'll be all just original music, and it'll all be amateur songwriters, and we'll have some headliners that'll play after them out there in the backstage, and we got seating back there. We got a bar in the back. We got, you can still get your chow and everything like that. So it's supposed to be a pretty special event that people really dig, especially if you like original music. And one of the things that I love, and I know a lot of people do love about songwriters and stuff like that, is hearing what actually, where did this come from? So they're going to introduce the song by telling you where they were, what brought this song to mind, how did it come into fruition? And so you'll get to hear the story behind the song before you hear the song, stuff like that. So
that's beautiful, man. And that's some of the experience that people forget, in music making. There's no such thing. Everybody listening in Ireland, France. I know you guys know because we talk a lot about music and everything. All our listeners all around the world, everybody knows because we hit it. You know, music is this beautiful, beautiful thing, and you guys are hitting it in the root of it, where that feedback is so important, especially with new artists, because if you're not getting it, it's very guarded, right? Musicians are usually the guarded types, right? But there's this ability to connect, right? And bridge that gap of maybe a little bit of social awkwardness, right? Creative criticism, where maybe your song's so beautiful and you never give it the opportunity that people don't get to ever hear it because, self-doubt. But that's something where workshops, I think, are beautiful. It's to me, there's a ton of different workshops that I've been through, different types of therapies that I've been through, singer-songwriter therapies, music therapy was one way back in the day. This was still when I was in. And it was one of those things where I have clunky, thicko, sausage fingers. Literally my nickname growing up. And I just can never hold the chords. I'm just not a guitar guy like that. But you give me the whole thing, right? A bass. I really like slapping the bass. It's so much fun. But songwriting is a whole other monster where you're learning the structure of it, right? You're learning the timing of it, right? How to add the musical elements, how to utilize the vocals maybe to be the musical element besides the structure of the song. Those fill-ins, the bridges, the turnarounds, all of that cool shit that goes into dynamic music making. I'm saying it, people, and all our listeners in the world, because I really think that there's so much more beautiful music out there to be made. And you got this resource here, right here in the Julian area, on, was it every third Tuesday?
Yeah. So tomorrow night's going to be our workshop for the month of March. And then in April, it's always the third Tuesday of the month. Yeah.
Third Tuesday of the month. Look at that. Boom. Now, Adam, I got to ask a few more good questions.
You got it, brother.
With these events that you got going on, what type of music do you guys have, and what type of way can we, again, in the community, share and represent or get involved with Heroes Woodfire Pizza?
Well, I mean, as far as music, because I love all aspects of music, our music is pretty diverse. I mean, we've got anything. We got some great blues bands that come up from San Diego. We got some great Americana bands. We got country bands that come up and play, and not just bands, but we have solo artists also. I've had people contact me from across the country. And funny story yesterday. I mean, yesterday we were really busy because it was a snow weekend. We had snow, so all the people were up. And some dude from Colorado just sat down the bar with his banjo and started playing. And I was like, at first I was kind of thinking, wow, that's kind of bold of you. But he was good. I mean, he's pretty talented. And so he's singing songs. People are buying him beers and loving it and getting into it and stuff. So it's kind of that and kind of environment. But as far as music, I mean, I've had jazz trios, jazz quartets. I've had all kinds of different music. So it's very diverse. And we have a music calendar on our webpage. Our webpage is julianheroes.com. If you look on there, you can see our music schedule. And you can see when people are playing, who's playing. Right now, we're in such high demand with the bands. I'm booked all the way into the fall right now. I have people trying to get into the schedule. It's like, sorry, man, I don't have any openings until October. I mean, I'm booked solid.
That's so great to hear. That's some of the most beautiful things is that when you get the space and you create it and you have that welcoming environment, you're developing that sense of community and camaraderie. That's something that really got me not just excited, but motivated to be a part of it any which way I can, anywhere we can help out, especially with everything, here at the Devil Dog Talk Show, 8X Entertainment, all our friends and family out there that are involved in the local region. That's something that I think is going to be a very, very beautiful, beautiful, beautiful future to be part of. Now, in that, you mentioned julianheroes.com. That's where we check the calendar and everything. How about all the other stuff? What's your social media links? How do we get in touch and engage with you there?
We have pages on Facebook and on Instagram. So Heroes Woodfire Pizza on either one of those platforms.
Solid. So it's Heroes Woodfire Pizza on Instagram, Heroes Woodfire Pizza at Facebook, and, of course, julianheroes.com. All right, Adam, I got to say, man, we're going to wrap it up here to keep it center focused on, of course, the restaurant, everything great that you guys got going on. Any shout outs, any last words, any recommendations, maybe a guitar you want to recommend? I don't know.
Hey, one thing, I'd like to make a shout out. I'd like to see some more veteran musicians play at Heroes.
Nice. More veterans, musicians at Heroes.
Yeah, we have a few, but I'd like us to be more represented. So if there's any veteran musicians out there that want to play, especially like bands that are all veterans or solo, whatever, man, we'd love to have you come up there and represent.
As soon as you said both of those things, I of course think of our intro. Our intro song is performed by Quor, the bassist and the producer, Doug. Yep. He is a Navy veteran, really solid guy. And then Dave Bray. He does a lot of live performances and sings a lot of things like national anthems and all that. So I'm definitely going to be sending some emails out right after this because I'm like, hell yeah, that's a good challenge. You're going to be like, all right, no more veterans, no more bands, no.
As far as the national anthem too, all of our big events, and we have 10 of them planned for this summer. We do start all of our events with a national anthem. So if there's anybody out there who'd like to come open the show with a national anthem, no matter if you sing it, play it on whatever type of instrument, we would welcome you. So get in contact with me, and we'd love to have you because we always, start with the national anthem.
So amazing. And again, folks, that's julianheroes.com and Heroes Woodfire Pizza. And my Mexican showed up on me right there.
There's a link on julianheroes.com asking if you want to perform at Heroes. There's a link there where you can contact me via email saying, hey, I'd like to play there. I'd like to book a show or something like that. So there is a link there for any musicians that would like to contact me directly about that.
Solid. So again, everybody, julianheroes.com. Everything else is Heroes Woodfire Pizza. This has been Adam Brice. This has been Joey Devil Dog Talk on the Devil Dog Talk Show. Thank you for listening. Remember to always listen, like, and share, and make sure to check out Heroes Woodfire Pizza out in the Julian area and support.
Internet. Hello. Listening to all this number of those warnings. Yes, yeah, if the number comes in that way, it's number 6 is nasty. Shit.
Well, that's the need to